Now, obviously, we cannot understand Christianity unless we realize that it was the product of this long development and interaction of thought and religion within and upon the Jewish people. Jesus, after all, was a Jew and probably a rabbi who followed Jewish law. And Christianity was first preached by Jews to Jews as a sort of reformed Judaism. Jesus won a considerable following among Jews, especially among the poor, until his success provoked the hostility of the Jewish establishment, which did not find it difficult to convince the Roman governor that Jesus was a dangerous radical. So the Romans put him to death in Jerusalem, probably in 30 AD. But it's important to realize that from the first, Christianity claimed to be not a break from, but the continuation and the fulfillment of the great history of the Old Testament, which promised a Messiah. The Christians inherited a lot of things from the Jews, including the Semitic sense of world worthlessness and the conflict between body and spirit. And they took over, too, the typically Jewish vision of a blinding, all-powerful God above and the abject condition of man below, with his overwhelming sense of sin and a passion for salvation. Where the long tradition of the Hebrew prophets promised the coming of a Messiah who would establish the kingdom of God on earth, Jesus seems to have preached that there would be no kingdom, but instead a day of judgment coming very soon when the wicked would be punished and the righteous rewarded. And so the message was, abandon all sin while you still have time. And so Christianity separated from Judaism. It left the fairly straightforward path of Jewish religious thought, and moving westward along both shores of the Mediterranean, it started to appeal to a new public and to develop a theology of its own. The result of all this can be found in the suggestion made by Origen, a Christian teacher who lived in Alexandria in the 3rd century. Origen wrote that Christians should not take part in the government of the state, but that their only concern should be the divine nation, that is, the church. Some churchmen went even further, denying the world and their own bodies, which in the dichotomy between spirit and flesh came out a poor second. They gave away their property, they fasted, they flagellated themselves, and Origen advocated complete chastity, probably had himself castrated. To begin with, many people thought the Christians were crazy or drunk. And this is the point. These Christians are dangerous. They insist that all men are brothers, that the beggar is as good as the solid citizen, that the slave is equal to his master in essence, if not in fact, since this doesn't prevent Christians from keeping slaves. All in all, they deny the value of everything society holds dear. The Good Shepherd offers salvation, not money, or family, or property, or success, or service to the state. What was even worse, the Christians even denied the final power of the emperor and the ultimate value and worth of imperial power and imperial justice. By all means, render unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, but there's a limit to what belongs to Caesar, and this means that for the Christians, there is a higher power than the state. There is an ultimate good or aim which may not be the ultimate good or aim of the state. And if that aim, God's aim, clashes with that of Caesar, there is no doubt about whom the Christian must follow. Think for a minute of the revolutionary character of such ideas being spread around a society where material values reign supreme. Ideas which found particular favor with the proletariat, especially around the ports and the Levantine cities. That happened after yet another civil war between rivals to the throne of the empire ended with the victory of Konstantini, who enlisted the support of the Christians against his chief opponent, who worshipped Sol Invictus, the invincible sun, as most soldiers did then. Constantine, who was emperor from 306 to 337, was given to visions and conversions. He had shifted from one god to another before. This time, however, a vision told him that the sign of the cross would bring him victory. And so he put the cross on his banner and on the shields of his soldiers, and it worked. In 312, Constantine defeated his chief rival, Maxentius, at the Milvian Bridge near Rome. And soon after this, his Edict of Milan granted full toleration to the church and freedom of worship to all Christians. It also established an alliance between the Christian church and the Roman state that was going to last a very long time. And this was to bring centuries of conflict, as we shall see in the programs ahead.